Schuckerman and Pierce. Don't call him Jimmy Kavanaugh here.
I like it.
You like that?
I feel like you're hurting a little inside, but I appreciate the effort, Will.
I'm making the effort, and it's slowly but surely coming around of me calling you Pierce from here on out.
It's great, too, because it gives me the option to fall back to Jimmy if Pierce becomes a viral video star for an unfortunate choice of words on a Peter Jerkin block with about a minute remaining in the game.
I don't know if you want to touch more on that later on in this
I think we
video.
can do that.
I think we can do that
We can
because
do that.
we like to have fun here at IU Sportcom,
Yeah, we do.
and we're the two co-managing editors, but we are here at Assembly Hall. Post-game, Indiana wins this one at 79-39 over Hillsdale College. A little bit of a tongue twister
The
there.
Chargers. What a tongue twister. It's like 2 syllables.
It's 2 syllables, but I was having trouble doing it, so I'm going to say it's a tongue twister just to make myself look better.
You know who else was having trouble doing stuff? Hillsdale scoring, because they did not put up a lot of points. I think they shot 14% in the second half.
And the thing you talk about that I want to bring this up from the get-go is that Indiana struggled the first 10 or so minutes of this game. They did not look like a team who was ready to play Hillsdale, and Hillsdale looked like the team who was ready to play Indiana.
Yeah, Hillsdale trailed 2-0. IU scored the first bucket. Noah Vonleh put one in. And Hillsdale did not trail again until the 6:28 mark of the first half. That was a very solid stretch they put together. They moved the ball. They were effective in finding open shots. And they didn't get less effective later on. It was more a matter of not being able to convert on those. Tired legs after an overtime loss to a very good Toledo team the night before. I don't think we saw Hillsdale's best shot tonight, and it was still a little concerning seeing IU struggle the way they did early, but they did find their tread. They got off to on a roll and eventually cruised. The final score again, 79-39. Easy victory over an overmatched Hillsdale team.
And the struggles you talked about, unfortunately, we still got to talk about it, came against a 2-3 zone. The Achilles heel, the new Achilles heel, I think, since dating back to that Syracuse game at the end of last year in the Sweet 16. But it is something that we saw. The half-court offense is going to need to improve still. And we saw signs of life at times during this game, but if they want to be a contender in this Big Ten Conference later on in the season, they're going to have to be strong in the half-court game because nothing's going to come easy.
And that was where a lot of their points were missing in that first stretch. When Hillsdale went up, it was because IU could not get any traction in that half-court game. They were more successful when they pushed the action, got an open floor, and made plays that way. But you're exactly right. I am not looking forward at all to those Wisconsin matchups a little later if this is the sort of performance they're going to bring. Again, we want to be positive in a fair way because Indiana gave you a lot to like. But there are also some serious question marks that I still have with this team, albeit a very young, still experienced team, but questions that need to be answered.
And I'm going to go and say that I predicted the starting lineup for tonight's game. We talked about it in one of our written pieces on the site that I like this lineup. Yogi Ferrell, Jeremy Hollowell, Will Sheehy, Troy Williams, Noah Vonleh. They struggled a little bit early on. That was in part due to the struggles, but it's their first time all together on the floor. And I think there's a lot of things that you can like with the length of that lineup.
A lot of length, Will.
Yeah.
A lot of length.
Wingspan is the new key word in basketball everywhere.
Jay Billis is going to call one of these games, and he's going to have an absolute fit because there's so much length. If Troy Williams is your 2, and Will Sheehy and Hollowell and Vonleh are playing across the front, there's really no weak defensive link on that team.
Yeah. So you said Troy Williams at the 2. How do you play that? You put Troy Williams at the 2, Jeremy at the 3, and Will at the 4?
I'd probably put Hollowell at the 4. I'm going to say this with the caveat that this is what I would do.
Yes.
Tom Crean is not doing this because Tom Crean does not believe in positions. Correct. Because I liked how he phrased it when Noah Vonleh was brought up at the end. It's like, I don't think we have a center per se. And he's like, I don't think we have a point guard besides Yogi Ferrell. So Crean just looks at guys. He wants to put them on the floor, and he wants them to be as versatile as possible. Versatility is the new name of the game in basketball, and certainly in Bloomington. You look at how they've recruited. That's what they've gone for. Long guys who can play a lot of positions with skill.
Yeah, and we talked about wingspan being a key phrase in basketball, but you're starting to see more teams adopt less of a strategic position. Nobody is necessarily just playing the 1. No one's necessarily just playing the center position. Everyone's moving around, and you see it, like you were talking about with this team, that Jeremy Hollowell, when he is trusted to lead this offense, he can do so. It might not be pretty all the time, but he can do it.
Almost certainly it's not pretty all the time. But Hollowell, again, 6 points, 6 boards. Noah Vonleh was impressive. 8 points, 9 rebounds in 20 minutes. You didn't think, just watching him, that he stacked the sheet that way, but he did. It's sort of a quiet 8-9 night for him. And I think we can expect that throughout the Big Ten as he figures out how to put this stuff together. I want to get to, quickly, Will Sheehy and Yogi Ferrell, who still look like they're going to have to be the two main sources of offense for IU. Both of them looked successful to varying degrees tonight. I think they need to sharpen up a little bit. But I still believe in a team that throws out Yogi Ferrell and Will Sheehy as its first two options in the Big Ten as they go along. Both guys capable of scoring the ball.
Quickly getting to Will Sheehy, he went down with an injury early on in this game, but it seems like he's okay. Tom Crean not overly concerned. He's not even sure necessarily what happened. He thinks he bumped into Evan Gordon, but he really didn't seem concerned after the game, which is really important because being that lone senior starting in the lineup, he could be very, very important, not just from the scoring aspect, but of course from the leadership aspect.
Yeah, because it gets shallow. When Crean was mentioning how much depth they have, and they do, really 10 rotation guys if you look around, but you can ill afford to lose the only senior you have on this team. And I'm going to not give Evan Gordon that distinction because he has not been with the program for the 4 years. Will Sheehy, the only guy who's going to see time, I'm going to give Taylor Wayer a shout out too, but the only guy who's going to see time who knows what it's like to be unsuccessful at Indiana. So many guys just don't have that experience, and I think it's a valuable one for this team if they want to be decent in conference this year.
You touched on him briefly, but we've been seeing this now throughout the preseason. Yogi Ferrell looks like a different player. He's one, stronger, which is definitely noticeable, but two, he is way more comfortable shooting the basketball. And in transition, he is ready to just go and shoot a three-pointer. And that's big for him because we talk about how quick he is, but now when he adds a jump shot, how do you guard him on defense?
He had a couple Pudgets, the pull-up jumper in transition, the Nate Robinson / Jamal Crawford special. It's nice to see Yogi not afraid, though, to take that shot, and he made one of them, one of two, and I guess 50% you'll take that.
Yeah.
If you're going to run transition like that, which Yogi Ferrell will, having the ability to hit that shot is big. I was more impressed with, at this end of the floor, you can't see where I'm pointing, but Yogi had a tremendous finish through traffic with the offhand, high off glass for the and one. He's a lot stronger around the basket, which I think is very encouraging.
For a guy his height, he seems to hang in the air a lot longer than you would think. He's able to go up there and go up against a guy who's 6'8 to 6'10, and it looks like he's not a mismatch down there. If he's able to get above the rim, which he surprisingly is almost capable of doing, he's a real big threat around the rim.
Yeah, I was worried about Yogi last year. I am less worried about Yogi this year. He's shown a lot in the two exhibitions, 20 in the first. Again, only 14 in this one on 40% shooting, but then 2 of 5 from 3, 4 of 6 from the line. Even without the assist numbers, I think those will come once guys around him start hitting shots, once they start running a little bit more. I'm still worried, like I said before, about these guys in the half court, but in the full court, when running the break, they're still going to be one of the more impressive teams in the conference.
Now let's get to what everybody, and by everybody I just mean me, was hoping to get to in this video.
Okay.
You had I don't want to say a poor choice of words. It was a little bit of a Freudian slip.
It was definitely a Freudian slip. I'm sure we could find a way to post that in this story, but I'll say this, that B-Town Banners tweeted it out with the disbelief that I had chosen the words that way. I'll say it involves Peter Jerkin, and it involves a block shot that he had at the end of the half with some slapping involved. That's basically all I'll go into it. You were playing it like on a loop in the press room before Tom Crean and the players came in. And
there are a few times where I get to a point where I'm crying with laughter. This was one of those times because I watched the video on a loop 10, 15 times. I'm not going to lie, it was that many times, and there were tears in my eyes. I thought it was hilarious, but from what I've heard, you did a great job broadcasting on BTN.com, following up me, which is, I know, very hard
to follow, Will.
Very tough act to follow.
You don't say it, I will.
You did a very good job, and commend you for that.
Yeah, people can check it out on Tuesday night.
Tuesday night, 8 p.m., I believe?
Shameless plug. Yes.
Hey, shameless plugs are good.
Yeah.
I'm never complaining. So,
until then.
He's Pierce. Like I said, don't call him Jimmy.
Nice save.
I'm Will Chuckerman. We're wrapping this up. Indiana wins 79-39 in the final exhibition game of the season. Friday night, they tip it off for real against Chicago State. So stay tuned for more coverage here on IU Sportcom.